Law Simplified with Justice is anchored by Justice Maduforo. Tice Madox Solicitors is results-oriented, but with a distinctive approach tailored to our clients' needs in our specialist fields: immigration law, criminal law, employment law, commercial law, family law, and contracts law. We are well equipped in our litigation and advocacy for the benefit of our clients, corporates, and individuals. Why not visit us at 5 Oakfield House, Oakfield Road, Ilford, London, IG1 1EF. We are just 15 minutes from Liverpool Street Station. Tice Madox Solicitors. Try us. We are professional.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Law Simplified with Justice. This program today is a special one because of the recent development in the United Kingdom. It is special because of the fact that as the anchor of this program, I always bring it fresh to you, which means I bring information to you to enable you to take action. Remember that. Law Simplified with Justice brings the very best, as I said, discussing all areas of law: immigration, criminal, employment, contracts, and the rest of them, litigations and advocacy, so that you can be well informed and take informed decisions. Before I crack on, you know me already. My name is Justice Maduforo. I'm a solicitor of the Senior Court of England and Wales. I'm also a barrister and solicitor of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, I am also police station and magistrate court duty solicitor, accredited and licensed by the legal agency or Ministry of Justice to present and to deliver independent but thorough legal advice to people arrested at the police station all the way to the Court of Appeal or to the Supreme Court relating to crime only, ladies and gentlemen, which means that if you're arrested or your word is arrested, friend, whoever, you can call on this number. Give the police station this telephone number on the screen. Give them the name of this firm. Give them my name. They will contact me immediately. So I will represent you at the police station free of charge, all the way to the magistrate court if you meet the means testing, which means if you fulfill the financial requirement that you can move, and I represent you free of charge from the magistrate court to the Crown Court, Court of Appeal to the Supreme Court, giving you undiluted but thorough representation. Ladies and gentlemen, that's crime for you. Today, this program coming at a very critical point whereby the United Kingdom have spoken. Most of you are very clear and aware and watching the news, even as you read this, as you listen to me on this program. Some of you are also reading through the newspapers and the papers and online chat and other things, all the whole discussions regarding the situation going on in Great Britain. As it stands, the United Kingdom has voted to leave the EU, obviously called BREXIT. That's why my topic today is focused on immigration, BREXIT implications. Immigration, BREXIT implications. That is the topic I am going to be discussing today. This topic is crucial. Not only does it affect you as an immigrant, even non-immigrant, even a British citizen, this topic may affect you. But there are so many facets of these implications of BREXIT. But for the purpose of this program, which is on immigration, I will concentrate on immigration only. There are implications of BREXIT as it relates to trading. There are so many implications of BREXIT as it relates to financial transactions within the United Kingdom and other countries. There are also implications as regards to jobs, as to those of you who are in this country, whether you're working directly under an employer who's EU associate or non-EU associate in business, whether you're working for the council, local authorities, or individuals or private sectors. These may affect you. The BREXIT implications may affect you. Ladies and gentlemen, whether you are in the medical field, it may affect you. There are so many implications. But for the purpose of this program today, I am going to leave it as just immigration. The implications of BREXIT when it comes and attains and pertains to immigration. That is my topic today. BREXIT immigration implication. Now, what are the implications of Great Britain exiting from the EU? What are the implications to you, not EU citizen or non-EU national? What is the implication to you, even when you are not EU citizen, but you derive your leave to remain here through EU citizen, or you derive your leave to remain here through the Human Rights Act, or you derive your leave to remain here through Human Rights Act, as I mentioned, encompasses Article 2, Article 3, Article 8. You derive your right to be here through those means. Okay, through those means. And I will tell you why it does not only affect the non-EU citizens or immigrants. It affects everybody, even yourself who is a British citizen, or you just naturalized, or your indefinite leave to remain holder, especially if your word, your wife, your husband, your spouse, your partner, civil partnership, your children or relatives are applying to remain in the United Kingdom going forward. That is the implication, which as I said to you, this is not a program where I give legal advice, but kickstarting your consciousness so that you would know this next step to take. As I said, some of you are British citizens already or EU nationals already, and you feel it doesn't affect me. But your words, your partners, your relatives are still under the immigration rules. The issue is that how does it affect them? Yes, this is the implications I'm talking about. The United Kingdom have decided to leave the EU with threes of uncertainty. With threes of uncertainty. What are these uncertainties in United Kingdom exiting Great Britain, exiting the EU? What are the uncertainties? The uncertainties are so huge. But as it stands at the moment, with time, things will become clearer. As it stands, it's affecting the strength of the pounds at the moment in the financial market. But whatever that is, as I said to you, I am dividing my discussion today away from finances, because if I go into finances, that's not the purpose of this program. It's immigration. Now, as I said, you have leave to remain in the United Kingdom, or your wife or your husband only has limited leave to remain, or your children or your guardians or your relative have leave to remain. And they derive this leave to remain through the Human Rights Act. As a matter of fact, Human Rights Acts are infused into the immigration rules. As a matter of fact, those of you are applying through private life or through Article 8. So they're all infused into the Human Rights Act. The immigration rules are also infused into the Human Rights Act, apart from those of them under the point-based system where you need to meet the points and then that goes on. Because if you are under the point-based system, the Human Rights Act may not, definitely is out of the question. The question is when you apply through the point-based system and you are infusing Human Rights Act into that point-based system application, either granted or refused, then that's where the Human Rights Act come in as well. The immigration rules, for those of you who have lived there for a certain period of time, then Human Rights Act also steps in. But the Human Rights Act is now under scrutiny. With Britain leaving EU, of which where it derived and is signatory under the European Convention on Human Rights, which means that as Great Britain leaves the EU, therefore it also wants to relinquish and gives away that signatory or that obligation to be tied under the EU, under the European, under the Human Rights Act. The Human Rights Act is different. Now, there are also calls before this referendum of the United Kingdom exchanging Human Rights Act to the United Kingdom Bill of Rights Act. That will now see the very better light of the day, but because the Bill of Rights Act will replace the Human Rights Act, of which it is now fused with certain things the United Kingdom wants to see when it comes to the right of those who are citizens and those who are non-citizens. Whether that will form to be discriminatory is another thing to be seen if we now see the Bill of Rights making the light of the day or going before the Parliament so that we can see the content of it, even at the consultation stage, so we're able to know the content and everybody will be able to make its contribution or give its contribution relating to the consultation towards the Bill of Rights Act. Now, so many uncertainties. Now, why am I bringing this topic today? It's so that some of you who are in this nonchalant attitude of saying or doing nothing, this is no longer the time. Because the effect of Great Britain leaving the EU cost the Prime Minister, David Cameron, his job. So why will it not cost you your stay in the United Kingdom? Think about it. It is not just in the theory, action has started. You now need to take action, ladies and gentlemen, because of this enormous change. Even Great Britain will definitely struggle to grasp the great implication of it exiting the EU. There's a lot of huge implications. Basically, people will argue that mostly the percentage, or almost 1 million plus, of those voters who voted to leave the EU are basically predominantly hinged on immigration purposes. As you can see the draft and the map of how this panned out, the England and Wales are all in support. Certain sections of the country, Northern Ireland voted to remain, Scotland voted to remain, and Wales and also England. Now, the fraction of those who voted to leave, the issue is that, and the discussion has been, on what basis did they premise their decision to leave the United Kingdom, to leave the EU? That is where that little 1.something million voters who left or who want to leave the EU has now caused a lot of what is called catastrophic chain reaction of all the certain things that will now take place as a matter of this new development. As I said to you earlier, the Prime Minister have already tendered his resignation. Or maybe if you listen to this program afterwards, the Prime Minister must have resigned. So in that case, there is some consequences of the exit. And then what about you, the purpose of this program? What about you, the immigrant, the non-EU citizen, even the family member of an EU citizen? How does that affect you? Ladies and gentlemen, I will return shortly in a while, and I'll continue from where I stopped. This topic is crucial. This topic does not only affect you, who is a non-EU citizen, who is a British citizen, who is an EU citizen. It affects everybody in the kingdom. So stick on there. And when I come back, I'll explore your mind. I remain Justice Maduforo, the best solicitor you can depend on to give you thorough legal advice.
Tice Madox Solicitors is results-oriented, but with a distinctive approach tailored to our clients' needs in our specialist fields: immigration law, criminal law, employment law, commercial law, family law, and contracts law. Tice Madox Solicitors. Try us. We are professional.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I remain Justice Maduforo. Thank you for sticking on the dial and not changing that dial as I carry on to discuss with you. Remember, I said to you previously before I took a short break that the circumstances of the change affects so many people. Not only the immigrants, not only the non-EU citizens, also EU citizens, also British citizens. It affects you, especially as it relates to immigration. I'm talking about immigration as the consequences of the BREXIT. That is only what I'm dealing with today. I'm not talking about the trading, financial, and all the monetary issues that will crop up as a result of this development and exit. But I'm talking about predominantly of the immigration stand. Now, let me take it further to explain. Now, some of you have lived to remain here. Some of you have been given 5 years residence card as a family member of EU citizen, and that 5 years has not yet lapsed, which means that you're carrying on in the next 2, 3, 4 years. And obviously, circumstance means that before then, there must have been a lot of changes, because as we understand it, the Prime Minister is meant to resign in October, which means ushering in a new Prime Minister who will drive the Leave campaign. The Leave campaign was not driven by the current Prime Minister or the Prime Minister David Cameron, nor was driven by some other parties or the party members in Conservative Party, and also from other Labour and the rest of them. So the issue is that since the Conservative are in power, therefore there will be a new change, a new handover button, which we understand some of the power brokers within the Conservative Party will be renegotiating. Or if you watch this program after that period, it might be that a new Prime Minister has now been sworn in. The question now is that those who are driving the change, who are driving the Leave campaign, will now begin to implement the terms and conditions, the new phase, the new change of this circumstance, of this development. And what will they start first? They will first start first not only negotiating or renegotiating the trade terms, and also back towards the financial terms, collaborations they have in all sectors of the economy, and also backwards again to deal with the fundamental issue of the Human Rights Act as it relates to immigration. This will be the focal point of any new Prime Minister or the new Prime Minister taking over, running through this under the new regime, which is now that the United Kingdom is leaving or has left the EU. Now, you are the family member with 5 years residence card going forward. At this point, you are given the 5 years residence card before then. Okay, you're giving it before the 23rd of June 2016 when the United Kingdom voted to leave. Now, it's crossing over until into the period where the new Prime Minister or the Article 50 has kick-started and the process to exit the EU has now commenced with a date and a deadline of which to finalize exit. The question is that you may be cut up, or you who is a family member has also come in and you also a family, you are EU citizen, have a family member here, you are husband or wife, an EU citizen, you have no residence card, or you have no permanent residence card at this point, because as a EU citizen with your passport, you carry on to reside here and work with no hindrances or no restrictions. The question now is that without regularizing to be controlled under the UK domestic law, you are still controlled under the EU law, which has now been severed. Now the question is that how does that affect you? There are a lot of thoughts, food for thought, and a lot of opinions out there in relation to the consequences on those who are family members of EU citizens or EU citizens themselves. The question is that a lot of people have propounded that there will be some kind of amnesty. Some have heard people say that. There will be some sort of allowing them to carry on under the old terms of which they were. The question here is that as an EU citizen, you came in on the law that you have a free movement. But that free movement has stopped. You're not a UK citizen. You are not a UK permanent residence holder. You've not converted into domestic law of the UK. And now the law of which you are exercising your free movement and your right to reside here has now vanished. So what pertains of you? These are the consequences, the uncertainties that this change is driving through. The question is that also school of thought has it that the transition will still allow some form of amnesty, some form of balancing exercise to allow those who are already here to carry on. But on what grounds? On what law? Which means, in my own interpretation, the parliament must have to enact one law or the other to allow those who are EU citizens or residence card holders to continue in their old terms, or some sort of law, domestic law, which will allow them to slip in through and to remain under the UK while they live here under the UK domestic law, but not anymore flowing from the EU law. Okay? It is not. And that's my school of thought on this, having researched and looked at the terms on the changes that will apply to EU citizens or their family members who are here. So primarily, what that pertains now is that there is uncertainty on the immigration status of family members or EU citizens themselves. The question would be, EU citizens must not come out to make an application to regularize themselves here under the UK domestic law going forward. Some of you have already done it who are here and you've applied for your residence card, your permanent residence card. So the question is whether you want to naturalize as a British citizen or continue to hold on as a permanent resident, but as a citizen of your own European Union national. But the question is that whether you want to translate it in order to be here. There are also issues because some of you who are from different countries that have no dual citizenship, if you change your citizenship to the United Kingdom, you lose that of your other country. The question will be which one you prefer first. Either to leave this country, return to your country, and also or transfer your nationality or change your nationality to British nationality. But you have to start it now, ladies and gentlemen. It's a lot of thinking things, a lot of uncertainty in the air. Now, these are for EU citizens on the other side or their family members. What about those who have no EU citizens but have British family members who are British? The husband, wife, father, son, whatever they have, relatives are British. And they are relying on them under Article 8, especially under Article 8, because steadily and shortly, recently, case laws from the upper tribunals, from the Court of Appeal, have come to allow people based on Article 8. Article 8 being a sort of a serious consideration of your circumstance, which the court will do that balancing exercise and apply the proportionality test to see whether or not you could be allowed to stay under Article 8. Majority of case laws that have been chunked out now from the first tier tribunal to the upper tribunal to the Court of Appeal has been on Article 8. So Article 8 has succeeded fairly. Article 8 has its own fair share of success, allowing people to remain in the United Kingdom under that principle. That principle now is seriously under scrutiny. That principle is seriously now under great attack, which means that if United Kingdom leaves, Article 8 leaves with it, substituted with UK Bill of Rights Act, which is still in process. And as I said to you, before you know it, it's already there. I know when they were clamoring for June 23rd for the referendum, and it seems so far away. And before you know it, it's come and it's gone. 6 months down the line, it's gone. And then we have a referendum today, we have a result today, which means decisive decision to leave and pack and go out of the EU. Now, the same thing goes further in terms of implementing and bringing and rolling out United Kingdom Bill of Rights Act. I am studying it. I am following it closely as it affects immigration. Not only immigration, it also affects other areas, your legal rights. The legal right is encompassing not only in immigration, not only in employment, not only in criminal, not only in contracts, not only in landlord and tenants, not only in educations of various sectors, but also as it impacts on your rights. On your right, whatever the Bill of Rights Act contains, it's yet to be seen and scrutinized and opinions heard before the Parliament will enact it and pass it as law of the land, replacing automatically the European Convention of Human Rights Act or the Human Rights Act of 1998. That will still left to be seen. This is a very wonderful time for legal practitioners, for those who need to sit up, those who need to understand the fundamentals, the technicalities, how it's applied, how to advise the client properly. That is what Tice Madox Solicitors stands for. That is what I stand for, because I'm following the whole process, understanding the changes, understanding the intricacies involved in this new development, applying it in the interest of my clients. And that is why this program comes to you, so that you will be awakened, so that you can pass the telephone number on the screen or address on the screen to those who need this legal advice to know where they stand. If you're an EU national or your EU family member, you don't just need to say do nothing. Seek proper legal advice. It might be there are other options of which you may move across and regularize the stay and come out from EU and move into domestic law. So you may not know that you have that until you seek proper legal advice. That's why this program is on there for you to seek proper legal advice, to understand the process and how it affects you. I'm speaking with passion about this topic because it has a whole lot of consequences. I bet uncertain consequences, which is yet to be seen. As I said to you earlier enough, what that pertains to some of you on discretionary leave on Article 8. Also, when you now finish your 2.5 years, what happens to that? When you are dwelling on Article 8 and the United Kingdom has now finally left, with new laws replaced to now replace the old law which you relied upon. And mind you, you are on discretionary leave, 2.5 years is finished, you're now regularizing again, which means that the old law has now gone. You are now faced with a new law. If the Parliament enacts a domestic law to replace the Article 8 or replace any other law or authority which was derived from the EU when the UK was still in the EU. If all this has not been substituted by the UK Parliament, and I can tell you, this is going to be done fast, because uncertainty is not good for the economy, uncertainty is not good for the development of a country, uncertainty is not good for security purposes, uncertainty is not good for the legal purposes as well, because businesses are leaving. Companies are changing their proposals and plans. So the country will not want to leave it so long or linger so long in this uncertainty, because a lot of spectators and speculators are there, and spectators are there as well. So you don't want that to drive your economy. The United Kingdom is working to ensure that. Now, if whenever you're watching this program, either before or during the exit or after the exit or during the era of the new Prime Minister, as this program will continue to roll on, you may understand what I'm talking about. Whatever the position, new laws must come in. As a matter of fact, there must be a new law passed by the Parliament, or at least a guidance issued by the Home Office, to allow those of you who are non-EU nationals who have been here under the old law, or those of you who are not EU nationals, depending on British citizens, nationals, and at the end of the day, your leave has expired, what will be the transition? The transition is yet to be seen. A lot of drafters are working on it, and the Home Office are put together now a team of drafters to understand how to work these new changes. Very complex in nature, very complex in nature. As a result of that, the courts also, the tribunals will also struggle to understand this transition, moving from the first of the EU into the new law which the Parliament will pass through. But you know what? When you are with Tice Madox Solicitors, you are sure to understand the stages as it goes along. You are sure to understand and to have better representation in your appeal going forward, in your new application going forward. You are best to have better representation. So you have no more excuse but to pick the telephone number on the screen and give us a call to seek proper legal advice to know where you stand going forward. Listen, do not just say, because I don't want to spend this money, let me watch what is going on. You may not be able to understand what's going on out there. because the legal implications are those left for those in the sector to understand the legal implication and argue it as well. Understanding the transitions between the first point A to first point B. The transition is very crucial, and at some point, at some time, as we move along, it will be a very technical and very, very shallow place and very narrow place for most practitioners to grab and to understand. But you have Tice Madox Solicitors, you have me, who understand the purpose, the procedures, the plans, the transitions, the understanding, the underlying principles. Apply it in your case so that you will be sure, you will be in the right path all the way. That's why this program comes before you. That's why this program is showing here. Wherever you're watching this program and you consign of your word, your family, your friend, you pass this telephone number to them. If it doesn't affect you, it will affect them as well. Listen, you may say I'm a British citizen, but you may fall in love with a non-EU citizen. You may fall in love with someone who is a not EU citizen. The question that you want to marry, but you can't marry. The question, how would you do that? Remember that your right to marry would not depend, was derived under the EU law, which is the Human Rights Act, okay, of the Convention of the Human Rights Act, European Convention on Human Rights. That's where it derived from. Also the Human Rights Act of 1998. Now, if they leave, where does that leave you? Which means that you're also fixed in. You are fixed in as well. How will you do that? How will you untangle yourself? It's a question you need to understand. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been discussing immigration, Brexit implications. The implications are uncertain, implications are complex, implications are huge, implications are still out there, not known, but the government is working its way to make it understand how it can move smoothly and be in compliance with the normal domestic law going forward. Ladies and gentlemen, those of you who are non-EU citizens, who have never made an application or made application in the past, failed, and then you resign and you just go about your business, that is not the right time now. You must keep making that application, because the application you make today might become a possibility in the future. An amnesty may come in. The government may decide to grant amnesty of those who are here during their Brexit period. And if you haven't made an application, how will you benefit from the amnesty? How will you, if that is the case? That's why you must take a decision to make an application. If you've made one before, failed, you cannot sleep now. And especially if you want to remain here. You must take an opportunity, take advantage of this uncertainty. It might be in your interest. Contact us, Tice Madox Solicitors, address on the screen, website is on there. Check us on our website, ticemadox.com. You can email us, email is there, telephone numbers are there. Please, you must pay consultation fee to come to see me in the office to advise you on legal issues. You must pay consultation fee. You must pay consultation fee, because we're passing legal advice to you, ladies and gentlemen. That's all time can permit me. I wish I can go on and on. But remember, it's not legal advice. It's for you to kickstart your consciousness to come seek proper legal advice, tailor-made, so that you'll be on the right path. Till next time I come your way, keep watching Law Simplified with Justice. Telephone numbers on there. Take action. That is the fundamental reason why this program is on your screen. Take action. Till next time I come, I remain Justice, your best solicitor, the best solicitor in town, the best firm in town.
We are well equipped in our litigation and advocacy for the benefit of our clients, corporates and individuals. Why not visit us at 5 Oakfield House, Oakfield Road, Ilford, London, IG1 1EF. We are just 15 minutes from Liverpool Street Station. Tice Madox Solicitors. Try us. We are professional.